What kind of world do we live in when Tokyo Mirage Sessions Sharp FE gets ported to the Nintendo Switch? This game was hated by so many. Fire Emblem fans hated it because it's not chess. Shin Megami Tensei fans hated it because it wasn't dark and theological enough for them. And Persona fans hated it because it wasn't Persona 5. How the f*** did this game get ported with its 300,000 sales? What if its songs got more views than that? How did this get ported over other games? This is like a miracle. This is the immaculate conception of video game ports. Sweet baby Jesus, we are blessed to have this masterpiece on the Switch. And I know so many of you hate it. So I'm gonna be that random guy on the internet and tell you why you should buy Tokyo Mirage Sessions Sharp FE Encore for the Nintendo Switch. What even is this game about? Well, you know, idols saving the world from demons with Fire Emblem characters as their stands, which is nothing like Fire Emblem or Shin Megami Tensei despite it being a crossover of the two. Well, technically this is now a crossover of Fire Emblem and Atlas, because everyone whined that the game is closer to Persona than Shin Megami Tensei. And on top of that, there's just so many Mega 10 references in general, so it's better to have just Atlas. In the game, you hang out around Shibuya as Itsuki and help your friends Tsubasa, Toma, and a bunch of other idols rise to stardom, while also taking down demons who are possessing key figures in the entertainment industry. That is for at least the first 75% of the game, then it just turns into the original Fire Emblem, Shadow Dragon. But the non-Fire Emblem part of the story is the most intriguing, because you explore the backstory of characters in your party, and it leads to a bunch of slice-of-life fun, concerts, and Easter eggs. The only downside is you're stuck with Itsuki. He's really boring. The beautiful thing about Tokyo Mirage Sessions is that it doesn't surrender the whole story to the two properties they're crossing over. They craft their own path by creating an original story, unlike SMT and Fire Emblem. It's bold of them to defy expectations, and they pulled it off very well. So if you do plan on buying this, which you should, just know you're not getting a traditional Fire Emblem or Shin Megami Tensei story. At least until the final quarter where they just cram a bunch of Fire Emblem. But it's still good, I promise. What makes it so good is the combat. Like most Mega 10 games, TMS is a turn-based RPG, but this time it has an intense focus on combos. Adding that doesn't seem like it would switch up the traditional turn-based that much, but it changes everything. Personally, I'm not a huge fan of traditional turn-based combat. Earthbound's combat system keeps it from being one of my favorite games of all time. I absolutely cannot play a game in this genre that doesn't have auto battle, and I struggle playing any Final Fantasy game without a fast forward button. That doesn't mean any of these games are bad by any means, their combat just isn't for me. But for some reason, the inclusion of combos, known as sessions, were enough to get me invested in Tokyo Mirage Sessions' combat system. Racking up double-digit sessions excited me. Watching flashy over-the-top animations always put a stupid smile on my face. I was mesmerized, and I consider it one of my favorite combat systems in a game ever. It's sublime. There's also the inclusion of performance special attacks, which just has your character break out into song mid-battle, which is so fun and energizing because that music slaps. And let's not forget that brilliant quality of life every modern turn-based RPG should have. Being able to switch party members without taking up your turn. I can't even begin to explain how innovative and game-changing that is. It's difficult to convey this magic through words, but trust me, the combat is terrific. If you're an RPG fan, non-traditional or not, you will find something to love in this complex battle system. A playful plot that's accompanied by some of the best combat in any RPG. This game sold me. I was originally very against the game, but the game is just so captivating, colorful, optimistic, dark, and most importantly fun. I couldn't help but fall in love with it. I know you're shaking in your seat because of how badly you need this game. Just go buy it right now. Go! Just click off the video. Go buy it. It's okay. Just purchase this. Unless you're still not convinced, which means there's something holding you back. Because this game was trashed by many, 1,000 excuses were made to not buy this game, which is why I'm making this video. I've praised this game quite a bit in this video and on my channel for the past 4 years, but now I'm going to break down some walls that people put up when this game came out. The game isn't Fire Emblem. Okay, Fire Emblem can be different than just chess. This game isn't Shin Megami Tensei. Okay, Shin Megami Tensei can be different than just dark and theological. This game is too anime. Okay, so we're both Shin Megami Tensei and Fire Emblem. I don't like idol culture. Good thing that this game isn't about idol culture and more about the people behind the culture. You probably hate Final Fantasy X too for the exact same hollow reason. I don't like idol music. Music is subjective, I understand. And then there's the big one, censorship. Gather around, children. I know you all came to this video to hear my take on the blockage of the boobs and the removal of bones. So if you don't know about the censorship in Tokyo Mirage Sessions, well, there's a lot to unfold. Let me break it down by the good, the bad, and the ugly. And when I say bad, I mean just okay. I wanted to throw in a Six Cinema reference. It sounded really cool on paper. This doesn't actually sound great. The ugly. When it came to censorship, there were 3 things that bothered me. The first, and my biggest frustration with the censorship, is the Hot Springs DLC. This was a DLC where all the party members got bathing suit outfits, and there were special hot spring cutscenes. Unfortunately, this DLC was cut from all versions outside of Japan, likely because of the revealing outfits. I do wish we got this DLC because it means more content, and more outfits. But at the end of the day, it's not that much, and it doesn't ruin the game for me. The next censorship issue I have is Tsubasa's outfit for one of her songs. No, not that one. I actually really like that one. It looks like a beautiful wedding dress. Sure, it has a lot of chest in there, but is that really that bad? According to localization, yes, it is. They painted her entire body white to try to suppress the cleavage. And it just looks silly. I never wear this because it's just ridiculous. Tsubasa, why? And finally, once again, with our lovely main character, Tsubasa. Her pelvis. Also known as the wonderful meme, vagina bones. They airbrushed out her pelvis, because you know, bones are too lewd. Let's just take out every woman's pelvis, because that solves everything. It's a really ridiculous and small localization change that boggles my mind to this day. I guess they just don't want you looking there. Look at Jesus. I've grown to appreciate this localization simply because of the vagina bones meme, but it's still pretty ridiculous. Besides that, nothing else really gets on my nerves. These are all very small changes that don't impact the game enough for me to care. The bad. The okay. Aversa, a boss in this game, had her chest covered with smoke. A lot of people made a really big deal out of this for whatever reason, but I don't see an issue with it at all. People said that it looks out of place, but I think it's actually very fitting. Kinda looks better, honestly. My only problem with this is that the smoke isn't consistent. It appears in the cutscene, but not on her battle model. That doesn't make sense to me. But overall, I'm pretty neutral on this one. And then the removal of upskirt shots. So many games do this. I personally don't care, I don't see the issue, but you know, once again, people got very upset about this, and I really don't want to pull the pervert card, but the more people who complain about not being able to see Tsubasa's panties, the more I'm willing to pull this card. Once again, both of these things barely affect the game for me, and shouldn't affect the game for anyone else. The good. Here's where we talk about the big censorship. There are some spoilers about the second chapter, so if you don't want to hear them, just close the video and buy the game already. Come on, what are you waiting for? This chapter is all about Tsubasa striving to become a better model after she was scolded by a corrupted photographer, who happens to be the boss of this chapter. By the end of the chapter, she captures modeling and gives her own unique take on it. And at the climax of the story, she puts on a low-key bangin' hip-hop outfit and poses in a way that the photographer has never seen before. and through her determination, costume change, and pose training, she becomes a better modeler. And that's all that needs to be conveyed in this chapter, but the original Japanese version has the chapter revolve around gravure modeling, which is the equivalent to a Victoria's Secret or a safe for work Playboy model. Instead of changing to her hip-hop outfit, she almost fully undresses because she's getting into gravure, just like her mentor who was captured, Maiko, was. They removed gravure modeling completely in the localized version, likely because it was too revealing, so they cover it up and replace it with normal modeling. Many pictures and models were covered up, and a few characters got different outfits, but it was likely necessary to keep this game a T rating. If they kept the gravure modeling as it was, this game would probably be rated M, which means this game would have flopped harder than it already did on the Wii U, and that means it would have definitely not gone ported to the Switch. Nintendo likely considered this and chose to remove the sexualization aspect of this chapter so the game would sell more, and I don't blame them at all. I think this choice was for the better because it sold more copies. And honestly, Tsubasa's localized outfit is a banger. Look at that. It's beautiful. Yes, this is culture erasure technically, and I understand why people would be upset about that. But the story wasn't impacted negatively. It still gets the same message across. Tsubasa still has the same development. It still makes complete sense, yet everyone freaked out when this changed, even though it barely affected the game. I know it's taking out Japanese culture, but it was for the sake of sales, which this game desperately needed. Overall, this game's censorship is incredibly minimal and harmless. Everyone complaining about it is blowing it out of the water. Sure, the wedding dress is icky, but if that's the only real issue I have with the censorship, I'll take it. I've argued with so many people who refuse to play this game because of the censorship, and they're incredibly stubborn and refuse to accept that the localization was done well and was done to benefit sales. This kind of censorship is not worth boycotting something over. In the end, people are just missing out on a spectacular game because of their stubbornness and pride. I refuse to reply to any comment on this video that tries to argue censorship. Censorship flat out does not degrade this fantastic game in any way. It should not keep you from buying this marvelous and beautiful game. So please buy it. Tokyo Mirage Sessions is a spectacular JRPG that should not be overlooked like it was back in the Wii U era. If you're a fan of Fire Emblem, Shin Megami Tensei, Persona, or just RPGs in general, you will find something to love. I cannot recommend this game enough. And if you do end up buying it, let me know what you think in the comments below, because I love reading about people playing this game. It's so good. Thank you all for watching this video. I hope this helped in your decision to purchase the game. If it did, let me know. That'd be cool. Stay tuned, I'll have some more videos coming out soon, and enjoy Tokyo Mirage Sessions if you get it, because it's a wonderful game. I'll see you all